I will teach Tratak, and then we will go and do Tratak. In the Tratak.
I brought malas. Three different kinds.
Nice. So yeah, we put them here.
One is labels or whatever you want to put on there.
Thank you very much.
I have to bring the flags for you.
Yeah, true. Those might be nice also.
Hiya.
Ready?
Ready? So cold.
I'm sitting here because I have to finish my coffee. I don't want to drink over there and spill.
Please. I don't think he realized how cold his house can be.
And he's got the heater on, I'm sure. Yeah.
You know,
I
the
can feel
thing
it.
is, the place where the heat comes up in the room is only this big.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
So where did you say you live? You live near here or in White Plains?
No, I live in Mamaroneck.
How many days?
Do you know where Larchmont?
No.
Do you know White Plains?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're on Mamaroneck Avenue going
Oh,
south,
I know.
you know Saxon Woods?
I
know,
just
that's
passed
my
by that
backyard.
street
Hmm?
last night. I just passed by that street in Mamaroneck.
Mamaroneck. Mamaroneck
Yeah.
Avenue. Yeah, so if you're going into Mamaroneck, there's, Saxon Woods Park.
Mhm.
Do you know?
No, I only
Well, if you're driving from White Plains on Mamaroneck Avenue towards south, there's a big park. And my house backs up to it. Lots of wild turkeys running around and deer and stuff.
Here, there's deer too.
Yeah, here there's here also.
I live on the edge of a park, so we get wild turkeys. They're so
That's nice.
cute. Among other things. Oh, okay.
Okay, so we start with just 2 minutes meditation, a short meditation.
Okay.
Shanti. Shanti. Open your eyes slowly. Namaste. Traditionally, like following tradition, and as a ritual, after meditation we do namaste to each other. Which, it's like in judo, it's typical Eastern ritual tradition, in judo or in karate they will bow or salute first. It's the salutation. In fact, when you salute someone, traditionally in every culture, it's related to a spiritual value of the other person. Goodbye is God be with you.
Acknowledgement.
Shalom, salam alaikum. It means an acknowledgement of the spirituality in the other person. Namaste means with what I think, with what I speak, and with what I feel, I recognize or I honor or I put the emphasis in or I look at and I acknowledge the divine within you, which is the same thing as saying the heart that is beating within you. Which is the same thing as saying that you put the emphasis in what joins you to the other person, not in the superficial values of the other person. Because what we normally do when we are with another person is that we only see the superficial values. And we are speaking with a person, or we pass by a person walking in the street, or you name it, and our mind will make a judgment about that person, normally negative. And you are in reality putting the values in the superficial values of the other person. So namaste, we do it ritually, but in reality it's a spiritual practice. Is to discipline your mind to acknowledge that in every human being. So when you are with another human being, instead of having an opinion or a thought about that human being, try to feel that human being. And with your thought, with your thoughts, and with whatever you say, and with what you are feeling, put your attention in the divine in the other human being, not in your opinion about the other human being or in your judgments about the other human being, but put the attention in what the other human being is feeling. It's very easy. If you just try it, you just say what the other one is feeling, you become one with the other one. It comes out naturally. You will feel the other person. And when you feel the other person, you naturally do namaste without saying namaste. You don't need to say namaste. That's the way they say hello in India. But in the hello, in the way we say hello here, you put the attention when you meet another human being. The essence is that you put your attention in what is divine in the other human being.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Is it okay to interrupt?
yeah.
Sometimes, and it's happened more frequently the last 6 months or so, when I meet somebody, with some people I feel like this kinship, as if I've known them before, and that I want to know them better because I have this feeling.
Well, that is
And it's
nice.
happening more frequently.
Well, that is nice. That means that you are feeling them, that you have connected with their feelings and not with your opinion about them. Because your opinion about them is kind of the door that closes the communication in reality. So if that happens, you know, it's just an expression of that connection, heart to heart. Because, you know, the heart knows the heart, because the heart within you and the heart within me is the same heart in reality. Okay, so I said about discipline your mind into, because, you know, meditation, mindfulness, now it's like very much a fashion, in the sense that everybody knows about it and everybody has heard about it, and, you know, the scientific studies say that it is good, and it is being sold a little bit like a healthy practice, which, you know, it is. You know, science have found that it brings good things for health, but it is not the why and wherefores of these practices, because meditation, mindfulness, they all are practices that come from all the different traditions, and they are aimed to one thing. They are aimed to answer the big questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? What this is all about? And the meditation techniques are part of the practices or the disciplines that different contemplative traditions of all the different, you know, spiritual traditions have practiced throughout the years. The Buddhists practice meditation, the Christians practice meditation, the Hindu practice meditation, the Jewish practice meditation, and so on and so forth. This emblem, do you know this emblem? You know what it means?
It has to do with the inner essence, yes.
Well, this emblem basically means, you know, the different spiritual traditions are situated in five circles that they represent the musical script, you know, the 5 lines of the musical script. And what it means is that all these wisdom traditions or spiritual traditions that we have, they are not in contradiction with each other, but they are different notes of the same song. So it's like these were notes of one song, and the song is the song that tells human being, find truth within you. Find that truth within you. So meditation has to do a little bit to find within you what this is all about. Not to find it in books, not to find it in any place outside, but to find it within you. Now, meditation practices. What kind of meditation practices you have practiced?
Well, I do it with Merrill. With that
Just
group.
that?
Yeah. And
Okay.
about 5 years ago, I was the group that did insight meditation, which is pretty much what Merrill seems to be doing.
More or less the same, yeah. So meditation techniques, they are of, we could say that they are of 3 kinds. I am using this classification of meditation techniques is a academic classification. The authors are Luntz, Davidson, and some other author. It was published in Cambridge Press, and basically these professors, what they did is they studied all the different techniques that are around in the different traditions, because all of them have different techniques that they practice as that we could call, or we could put under the meditation techniques, like practices that you make a kind of name, no? And there are basically three kinds. And it's a good classification because these are basically the three kinds. The concentration techniques. Different traditions call them in different names. Buddhists could call these samatha, but basically the techniques are based on the following thing. You put your attention in an object of the senses, normally drawing your senses inwardly, and you keep your attention in that object, and you use that object to let go of every other thing that comes in front of your attention or your awareness. For example, when you are meditating with the objects could be all objects have to do with a sense, so the object can be of touching, or of hearing, or of seeing. So those are the main objects. There are objects, there are techniques with all the senses, even with taste and smelling, but the general ones with touch have to do with touch, with hearing, and with seeing. So with these three senses. Now this is the typical meditation with your breathing. Now the meditation based on an object is very much like, it's a practice that everybody has done naturally, because who is the person that has not looked at the chimney, and you are looking at the fire. So you are sitting there looking at the chimney, and you are looking at that object, and that object captures your attention. And when that object captures your attention, you are there in front of the chimney, you are enjoying all that moment, the sounds, that object captures all your attention, and your thoughts are there, but you just let go of them, because your attention is in a relaxed way, so it's not a concentration. You don't concentrate in a chimney. You just observe the chimney. The object is good enough for you, and you let go of everything else, and you keep your attention in the object, because you kind of get attracted by the object enough, not because you force yourself to be. It's understood, right? So with breathing, it's a little bit the same. Breathing is using basically the sense of the sensation, so let us call it touch. And you start by feeling your breathing in your nose, the air coming in and coming out. You feel the air in your nostrils, the touch of the air coming in and coming out. But then you let, it's like when you are watching a chimney, you let it go, and you will be feeling your breathing in your chest, or you will be feeling your breathing because all the cells are breathing. In reality, the breathing is the chimney of the body, because what you are doing is burning oxygen, right? So you are burning oxygen, and it's your chimney. So you just become aware of that object, which is your breathing, in all the different ways that and you just let your attention be aware that you are here, sitting still with your eyes closed, breathing, and you let go of everything else in your attention except your breathing. What will happen is the following. You will, it's better that you understand that you're right, because this is very experiential, you know, it's more an experience than a concept. So what you want to do is that you are putting your attention in your breathing. So you are feeling your breathing in your nose, you are feeling your breathing in your chest. All the body is breathing in reality. You will feel sensations of the body, but those sensations is just the energy of the cells which is burning the oxygen, and you are being aware of all that. So all the body is breathing in reality. So you put the attention in the breathing like you would put it in the chimney, and in the meantime you have thoughts. Constantly the mind is producing thoughts. You don't fight against those thoughts. You just let go of them. But eventually a thought will capture your attention, because we are very much identified or attached to our own thoughts. To put a simple example, you might have the thought, oh, I don't have the money to pay the mortgage this month. No? And obviously you are very much identified with that thought, because it's your mortgage, it's your house, and that thought captures your attention. So that thought captures your attention, and suddenly you start elaborating on that thought, and in a little while you might be speaking with the bank branch manager, you know, negotiating if he can wait for you a month or whatever the case might be. And you don't need to fight when that happens, against it happening. You just, when in your awareness comes the thought, I lost awareness of my breathing. So when you realize that you are no longer aware of the chimney, which is your breathing, and you are somewhere in the bank or making the shopping list or whatever the case might be, that your mind has gone, you simply take your attention out of that thought and bring it back to your object of attention. In this example, the breathing, which is where you are putting your attention. So all concentration techniques are based on that. You have an object, breathing, hearing, a mantra, and seeing. We are going to use a candle, and this is the technique we are going to learn this morning and that we are going to practice. Then they are what we could call the open presence techniques. Probably in mindfulness they basically mean this set of techniques, although in mindfulness they speak about everything. It depends who speaks about mindfulness. But these would be the mindful techniques, the techniques that are based, as the word says, in being present. You know, being in the presence of God. It's a practice that every tradition has, but being in the presence of God and being in the presence of the present moment is more or less the same. Because being in the presence of God means that you are not in the presence of your ideas, means you are in the presence of God and His expression, which is this manifestation. So being in the present moment, being here where everything is happening, there are different techniques to help you bring your attention to the present moment, and those are the open presence techniques. And we are going to learn techniques of that kind also during this course. And then there is what in these authors in their classification called loving kindness techniques. which is all those techniques that are focused, and they, again, all traditions teach these techniques, that are focused to open your heart, that are focused to develop compassion or develop love in your heart. And those goes from singing kirtans, to singing hymns in the church, to singing, you know, there are many Jewish devotional songs, for example, so all traditions have their singings, praising to God, singing to God. In other words, devotional practices. Practices that are there to enhance your spirit. You know, it's like dancing, like the Sufis when they dance and turn around, or dancing, singing, enhancing. I mean, there are no rules to love, but every practice that is focused on opening your heart, of making you feel loving and lovable, loving kindness, are the other kind of techniques. We are going to learn the three kind of techniques during this weekend. And we are going to learn them in a way that we can practice them daily. Because one thing very important about this is that meditation is a discipline. And because it is a discipline, it is like a thorn. Every discipline is a thorn. Is the thorn with which you take another thorn and you throw them both. And the thorn that you are taking with this thorn, with the thorn of the discipline of meditation, is suffering. That is the main goal of these practices, to free you from suffering, as the Buddha said. But you know, salvation, communion with God, enlightenment, call it what you want. Because what people yearn for is to be rid of suffering. Because people suffer. And everybody that comes to learn meditation, they come because they suffer. You can suffer for mundane things, like I don't have enough money, I don't have a partner, I don't have a husband, you can suffer for mundane things, or you can suffer for spiritual things. I don't find God, I don't know the truth, but it's a suffering. And people try, everybody wants to get rid of that suffering. And in fact, the beauty, for example, that the Buddhist teachings have is that it's very much focused in that. The Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. I don't know, you know them? Do you know them? No. The famous Four Noble Truths is, the first Noble Truth is that man suffers. Man, women, human beings suffer. One Noble Truth. Second Noble Truth. The cause of suffering is dukkha. Dukkha is a Pali word that has been translated by desire, but that it is not exactly desire. It's another thing, and we will get into what it means. But dukkha is, the craving of something that you want to bolster up your ego. We could put it that way. But we want to understand it more from a psychological point of view. Which are the mechanisms that generate this dukkha? So that's the second Noble Truth. The third Noble Truth is that there is a solution for the suffering, so that this is not, a problem without a solution. And the fourth Noble Truth is that the solution is the octuple path. And the octuple path is a discipline that you apply to your life to liberate yourself from suffering. So from this respect, Buddhism kind of puts it very much in very clear terms as a tradition. But every spiritual tradition in reality do the same thing. they apply a discipline. And they apply a discipline to the day you are living. Because the important thing, where everything is happening, is today. Now, to understand the discipline, the spiritual discipline, and the morning practices, because the morning practices are the most important ones. And this is what I'm going to explain now. I'm going to explain the morning practices that you are going to learn here, which will contain a meditation practice based on concentration that we are going to do with a candle, and an open practice an open presence practice that we are going to call Good Morning Day. Now, the phenomena you have to make the exercise of trying to look at the phenomena of existence from outside. So, get away from all the ideas that you may have and imagine that you were, say, an external consciousness that is looking at the human form of life called human beings, and is looking at what happens, what is the phenomena of existence. Now, the phenomena of existence with respect of the subjective experience you have about it is that you wake up in the mornings. You were born and you woke up, when you were 3 years old, when you were 6 years old, when you were 12 years old, when you were 14 years old. You keep waking up every morning to a new day. And every day you wake up to a new day, the idea you have of yourself is permanently changing. So, when you were 12, you woke up with an idea of yourself, of who is yourself, and with your 20s, you woke up to another idea, right? You recognize that within you. You have to do that, recognize it within your life. And with 30, and so on and so forth. So what happens as a phenomena of what happens is that you wake up in the mornings, because the eye that suffers, the eye you want to deal with, the eye that wants to meditate or not, is the eye that is awake, because it's the eye that you feel you are in charge of your life, your doings, of your thoughts. I think, I act, I do, I feel. That eye is the eye in the waking state, because when you are sleeping, you are kind of not in charge. You go to sleep, and if you are completely not in charge, you sleep well, really. If you keep appearing during the night, you don't sleep well. So when you go to sleep, nature takes charge. You might have a dream, but you are not in charge of the dream. The dream happens, right? So it's a little bit like that. When you are asleep, the eye you are worried is not there, because nature is there doing the things, but not the eye with which you identify when you wake up in the morning. And when you wake up in the morning, what happens is that project in the screen of your mind your memories, which obviously include the memory you have of yourself, the things you tell yourself about yourself, the things you tell yourself about life, the memory you have of your circumstances, of your house, of your rent, of your family, of your work, of your job. All that zoom, it's like a projection on the screen of your mind, and that is what you become aware of, the conceptualization you have of your reality. Now, the first thing that one has to realize is that that conceptualization you have of reality has no existence but in your mind. Because who knows that reality apart from you? I have no idea. Irma has no idea. Your husband, are you married?
I'm a widow.
You are a widow. Well, your husband didn't have an idea of what was waking up every morning, and you didn't have an idea of what was waking up every morning. In your husband, you might. What do you know about your husband? And that is the main thing. What is reality? Reality is what you have in front of you, not this. Although we tend to consider this our reality. This not only is a reality that you only are aware of, it's a reality nobody cares about, because everybody is worried about their reality. So while you are worried to keeping that reality, the other person is worried to keeping his reality, because everybody thinks that this is real. Well, this is. So this is real only for you, 1. 2, nobody cares about that reality. Nobody knows that reality, nobody cares about that reality. 3, that reality is changing all the time. So the reality that woke up when you were 12, and when you were 20, and when you were 30, and when you were 40, so on and so forth, has kept changing all the time. So the reality that you call my reality is only good for one day. Because the reality that is going to wake up tomorrow is not going to be exactly this one. You don't perceive the change like you don't see a baby grow. But in the moment that you compare, like now and 4 months after a baby, you see the difference. Same thing happens with this. If you go back, when you were 20, the reality you woke up was completely different. No. When we wake up, the first thing that we do is that we consider that that is our reality, and we give that reality the biggest importance. It's important to realize also something. The only reality, shared reality, is your actuality, the day you have to live. Because these memories are in your mind and nobody knows about them. And this interpretation of your reality, of your circumstances, is an interpretation of your circumstances, not your circumstances. Your circumstances are exactly those that happen that day. That is where the game is being played. That is the only place where you are aware of yourself. That is the only place you can do something for yourself or for the people you love today. Because what you did tomorrow, it's done, so let go. And what you may want to do tomorrow, tomorrow will be another day. It is today the only place you can deal with your life. And dealing with one day, which means dealing with your life, is very simple, because you are only speaking of 16 hours. 8 of them you are sleeping. So it's only 16 hours that you have to deal with to have a good life. Because if you learn to live a good day, you have just learned to live a good life. And what one needs to understand to live a good day is what happens, to begin with, what happens during one day, with all the things that have to do with my experience of existence. And the first thing that happens is that when we wake up, we project this in our mind, and in our mind we have memories of people, you know, A, B, C, N. And you know what we do is we start a mind chatter with these people that we have in our mind. In other words, if you are thinking about family things, you might find your mind speaking with or directing thoughts to your son or to your sister, or you name it, to your cousin. And if you are thinking about work, you might find your mind speaking or directing its thoughts to this one or that one or the other. And you start, this mind chatter starts, and in this mind chatter you make projections to the future. Because when you wake up, and this is typical, you will consider that some part of your reality is not okay. And you need to change that part of your reality and take it to that hypothetical future where things are sorted of all the complaints, let's say, that you might have of your actual projection of the reality. Now, it's very important to realize that whatever conflict you have in this mechanism, it's only here that you can do something about it. Because you cannot sort your life in this mechanism. You can only sort your life today. Another thing that is important to realize is that this mechanism is not wise, it's a little I. If you look at the kind of projections or mechanisms that were operating in your mind, for example, I don't know if I asked you this to do yesterday, in 9/11, did I ask you that to do? Yeah, I did it, no? So if you compare that, you see that the projections you did to the future and what the future is are two different things, right or wrong? Why? So the projections you are doing now are the same. So it's an illusion. In fact, that's what they call illusion. People think that life is this mechanism, while life is what happens during the day. So you lose sight of everything that goes on here because this captures all your attention. And you are having a shower, and you are speaking with someone, and you are having breakfast, and you are speaking with another one, and so on and so forth. You keep speaking and bringing your attention to that, considering this is my reality. No. The Good Morning Day practice is based on the following. When you wake up in the morning, from the very minute that you are becoming aware that you are waking up, so you are in bed, and you know, you start seeing the light or the alarm clock sounds, it's good not to wake up with an alarm clock that breaks your sleep violently. In the same way that you don't want to get out of meditation violently, but slowly, you don't want to wake up violently. You come from a state which is the sleeping state, and you want to little bit. I, for example, have used myself to wake up with the light. As soon as there is a little bit of light, I wake. And then I wake up like the sun. little by little. Little by little the light becomes more bright, so you little by little awake. Well, from that very moment that you wake up, you will realize that your awareness is in the one side with all that mechanism. But there is another awareness. There is awareness of the light coming through the window. There is awareness of the room that you are. There is awareness definitely in the other thing that you can become aware, which is this actuality, where millions and millions and trillions of molecules are dancing. You know, each of those molecules following its own physical laws in this dance of beauty, of trees, of people, of animals. In other words, to the day you have to live. So from at the same time that you become aware of your memories and of your interpretation of yourself and of your circumstances, look at the day, look at the light and say, good morning day. And you can say good morning day in many ways, but you just tell yourself, look, it's this day that you have to live. Try to recover from your childhood those days that you woke up and you said, I have a whole day to live. And it looked great to you. You remember those days? Eh?
A little bit.
Every child has had those days, you know, at least a few. Even, you know, some child might have had more difficult childhoods, but every child has had at least one hint of that natural thing, which is my life is this day that I have to live. A child still has no identity. That's why many times you forget because your memories are associated with your identity, which means that people have a more or less permanent line of memories from teenage. You know, until you are a teenager, you have memories but scattered. But then when you are a teenager, you start associating memories to an identity you are creating when you are on those ages. So that's when you have a line of memories, which is more or less continuous. But before that, you have scattered memories, and within those scattered memories, every child has the memory of that attitude towards the day you have to live. So that attitude, you are going to discipline yourself to bring it back. And how do you do that? From minute one that you wake up, you say good morning day. Unconsciously, you try to guide your senses. What you listen, what you see, what you smell, in all the beauty around you. Everybody has beauty around them. It could be the beauty of the smell of the coffee, it could be the beauty of the light of the sun coming through the windows, or the snow, or the, you know, the sound of the music, or you name it. If you look at it, because everything is beautiful, you know, beauty does not depend on the object. If you love something, you see the beauty. If you don't love it, you don't see the beauty. In other words, you want to start loving your day, because that's where life happens. That's where existence happens. That's the only place where you can do something for your life. It's only 16 hours. And it's just learning to enjoy that day, to put all your attention in the day you have to live. And take away all the importance that you give to your projections, your thought of your identity, your inner conversations, which is just a mess, and is the mess that makes you suffer. Because living a day, which means doing things during that day, thinking things during that day, and feeling things during that day, if you put your attention in where you are, it's very easy. They say how simple it is to be happy, but how difficult to be simple. So it is very simple to be happy, but we are so difficult with this mechanism that it is very difficult to be simple. But to be happy is very simple. So, Good Morning Day starts by that attitude which you wake up with, in which you take, instead of giving importance to this, you take importance to this mechanism. It's there, let it go, and you give importance to the day you have to live. And the mind will start to chatter. So the mind will start to chatter, and you will find yourself chattering with, your mother, or your husband, or your son, or your boss, or your patient, or this or that. Now, what are you going to do when the mind chatters? Because you cannot fight against the chattering of the mind, because if you fight, it will chatter even more. So you just allow your chatter, but instead of directing your chatter to these different people, direct your chatter to God. At that time in the morning, speak with God only. You really don't need to believe in God. You only need to invent a God, to speak with a mind. Take into consideration that when you are speaking with people in your minds, you understand what I mean when you speak with people in your minds, the mind chatter that you direct your thoughts to. The people that you are speaking in your mind are not real. They are your projection of those people. They are your invented mother, your invented son, your invented... Many times, what I usually do with people is tell them, you imagine your father or your mother speaking mentally with you. If they've passed away, just imagine when they were alive, speaking mentally with you, because they would do it as you did with them. When you were a young teenager, you would speak mentally with them. That's typical thing that every human being does. Imagine your mother or your father speaking mentally with you, and they project the idea they have of you, and then they direct their thoughts to you like you would do with them. And you tell me, the projection that your father or your mother is speaking to, the projection of you that your father or your mother is speaking to, and the real you are the same thing or not? No, they are not. It's an invented you. And that is your mother and your father. So they know you the best. They raised you. You have inherited their psychological patternings, their language, their behaviors. And even then, they speak with a different you. Imagine me that I found you in the street, that they say in Spain. If I have a conversation with you, I have a conversation with something that has nothing to do with you at all. So, that is another important thing to understand. The only real reality you have in others is not what they have in their minds about you, because that has nothing to do with you. The only reality you have to others is the reality if that day you are with that other, and the interaction you have with that other. That's the only real thing, and the only real other that you are going to meet in reality, in your actuality, because that is going on in the mind isn't real. I mean, it's only there. So if you are going to speak with an invented mother or an invented son or an invented patient, speak with an invented God. Once you want to invent people, invent a God. How do you invent a God? Very simple, by its description. Imagine you speak with an omniscient mind, i.e., a mind that is conscious of the totality of all. Imagine consciousness of the totality of all. A mind that is conscious of even the slightest movement of an atom, moment by moment, omniscient. Right? Imagine you speak with that mind. Omnipresent. Imagine that you speak with that mind and that mind expresses itself through everything. So that mind could be expressing itself by, the light that is entering, or the cushion, or, the bird that sounds suddenly, or the barking of a dog, or you name it. It's omnipresent. It's omniscient and omnipresent. So it could communicate, it is a mind, so it communicates. It could communicate with you through all its mouths. And its mouths are everywhere. So you are speaking with an omniscient mind, omnipresent mind, omnipotent, which means is the energy that moves everything. So imagine that you had to express your concerns, the concerns that you have that day that you woke up, because when you speak mentally, you are only expressing your concerns. So express your concerns to God. And you will find the following thing happening. You will probably keep more silent. You will be much more honest with yourself, because when you are speaking mentally with, say, your husband or your son, you will probably lie, or you will probably try to manipulate, or will be testing manipulation. You just observe yourself tomorrow. Or you will be projecting yourself as what you are not. For example, if imagine a man that woke up that morning, is having a shower, and that week has met a nice girl, and he's starting a mental conversation with that girl. Well, typically a man would, in that mental conversation, will project himself as probably a James Bond. James Bond is not as good as him. So you project yourself as what you are not. You just project an identity there. So you are either lying, or manipulating, or imagining yourself as what you are not, as some kind of Superman or Superwoman, or you are just complaining and judging the other person. So none of these things are wise. One thing that is also important to realize about the little I is the following thing. The little I, which is the identity, which is not the ego. When we get this afternoon into how the mind works, we will go more into depth. The classical Eastern psychology call it ahamkara, identity, the identity. The identity is something you created in your teenage. During your teenage years, you built an identity for you, for yourself. And from there on, you started to attach memories to that identity. That's why you have a continuous memory related to that identity that you created on your teenage age. Before your teenage, you didn't have an identity as a conceptualization of yourself with which you identify. Right? You understand this? Now, children start to lie when they are 3 years old, as all psychologists know. And when you are a teenager, remember, you lie as if it was not, as if it was coming out of fashion. I mean, you lie, it's a permanent thing, lying. Well, under those foundations, the lie, your identity was created. So that identity that all human beings are so attached to, that makes you suffer, is built on lies. During a time that wisdom was not in abundance, which is your teenage years. So, one of the things that are more difficult is to look yourself at the mirror, which means look at that identity squarely. The best way, because when you are speaking mentally with your son, with your friend or whatever, in reality you are trying to see yourself in the mirror of the other person. That is why sometimes in your mind you might imagine yourself as looked by others, no? But when you are directing your thoughts to another person, you are looking yourself in that mirror of that projected person which you are already falsifying to your own suits to reaffirm an identity which is based on lies. So, a very good way to look at yourself squarely in the mirror is to look at yourself in the mirror of God. So, from the moment you wake up and while you dress yourself, while you shower, while you brush your teeth, you know, while you do all these things that you do to begin with in the morning, you take all the importance out of those mechanisms, give importance to the day you have to live, realize that it's only today that you can do something for your life, consciously lead your sight and your senses to all the beauty around you, and whatever your mind has to say, tell it to God. And that is the good morning practice. And it's an open presence practice. In other words, at those times of the day, be in the presence of God. When you wake up is the most intimate, you are most intimate with yourself. It's like your mechanism has not pulled you out of your inner self. So you are intimate with yourself. It's the moment that you want to keep that intimacy by giving your first steps in front of God. So the good morning practice is in the presence of God. You will brush your teeth. So if your mind is going away to having the teeth brushed or rushing to want to do this, you just breathe and brush your teeth in front of God. Like He likes to see you brushing your teeth, you know, which is doing it nicely, relaxedly, conscious of what you are doing, aware, like if you had all the time of the world to brush your teeth, because you are brushing them for God Himself. And the same, everything that you do. And when you think in front of God, which means when you speak, tell it to God. And keep into that position until you do your first meditation. Because it is very, very important, because it's only today that you are going to be able to do something for your life. It is very, very important that you take it seriously, because this day will never come again. It's only today. And tomorrow will be another day. And we could say that you have many, many days, like you have many, many lifetimes. But why, you know, prolong the torture? You know, why don't do it today? In reality, everything that is needed, you can do it in one day. Although it takes practice and it's a process, and it is said quickly, but it requires discipline. And this is a discipline, and disciple comes from the word discipline, and this discipline works if you apply it, but if you don't apply it, it may sound good to your ears, but it will just be a waste of time, because you know, the goal of learning this discipline is putting it into practice and finding out for yourself what it brings. So, the very important practice in the morning, the good morning day, ends with your first sitting meditation, which is Tratak. None of you have practiced Tratak before, right? Well, Tratak is a very important technique. You are going to learn two basic techniques during this weekend. One is meditation with mantra, and the other one is meditation with Tratak. Mantra is based on hearing, based on sound, and sound is rhythm, is music, is the rhythm of the heart, is, you know, sound is like the energy of life. You know, you might associate in your mind very easily a song to a moment that you live, because, you know, music, sound is the rhythm of life, is the energy, like the well, okay? Sight is the understanding, the applying. It is like a ballpoint pen that you have the ink and the ballpoint. And to write, you need the ink and the ballpoint. You cannot write without the ink, only with the ballpoint. You cannot write only with the ink, because you don't have the one-pointedness to apply the energy. So mantra is going to bring energy to your life, the energy of life, and Tratak is going to bring the one-pointedness in your mind so that you can apply that energy where in the day you have to live. In other words, Tratak will enhance the capability of your mind to concentrate. Concentration, you know, I always say a concentrated fool gets a college degree. A non-concentrated, very smart guy doesn't. Because concentration is what really makes you things get done. I mean, it's only concentration. It's one of the main cities or powers of the mind, the ability to concentrate yourself, which people don't have a lot, you know. That's why studying is something very effortful, because, you know, you try to keep your mind concentrated in what you are studying, but, you know, a thought is pulling this direction, a thought pulls in this other direction, and this other thought pulls in this direction, and the mind is fragmented and cannot apply the thought, you know, only to one thing, only to whatever you are doing. You need to be able to, you know, be doing something, and your mind is just in what it is doing, because you cannot do any other thing. So, you know, you want to teach your mind to concentrate. And this technique will develop that ability in your mind so that you get concentrated effortlessly. Instead of having to put a lot of effort to study, you will just sit and start studying, and you won't even need to say, I need to study, I need to study. Your mind will concentrate, because with this technique, the mind develops that ability, develops that that power. No? Another benefit that this technique has is that it develops the capabilities of visualization of the mind. Visual thought is very powerful. And visual thought is the thought that makes you understand. That's why in every language, when you understand something, you say, ah, I see. Because you see it, I mean, you see it. It's beyond logical reasoning in time, which is more like music. Vision is, more global than verbal thought that goes one after the other. No? So visual thought is very powerful, and this technique develops the abilities of the mind to visualize, which is not similar to conjure images with your imagination. Visualize is the ability to see something, right? Now, how do you do the technique? I don't have a candle here, well, but we are... no, tráeme un tratac de ahí de la habitación. No, she'll bring one. Now, the technique, so you imagine, this is the first, what we are going to learn during this weekend is one technique for the morning, at the beginning of the day, and one technique for the evening, at the end of the day, and then we are going to learn certain practical philosophy or certain, spiritual practices that we are going to apply during the day to our actions, our thoughts, and our feelings. And the whole thing is a discipline that if you apply it in your life, works quickly enough, but you have to apply it. But if you apply it, it really transforms your life before you can even realize that you have started, because it is quick enough. So, we are going to learn this, and then it's up to you to practice it. And I am here to support you in any doubts that you might have once you implement the practice. But the thing is, doing it is what makes the difference.
What about visualizing the flame?
Yeah, that's what we are going to do.
Without looking at it, without using a candle.
No. We want to use a candle. I will explain you the whys and wherefores. There are several whys and wherefores. Pásame la
Hay que poner esto por la acera, porque puede caer en la alfombra.
No, pero que no lo voy a hacer aquí, vamos a ir...
Vamos a hacerlo aquí.
No, vamos a ir abajo, al cuarto de trata. No, this is a way you can do it. Someone can do this for you, or I hope that someone someone that from here, the American Meditation Society, can do this. This is just, a stick, a wooden stick, and pieces of wood, and here you put the candle. You really want something as comfortable as this, in the sense that you want to put the candle like this distance from when you are sitting, so that you can light the candle from where you are sitting, and the candle has to be at eyesight. So you put the candle at eyesight, and you look at the candle at eyesight. Now, a candle is very important because of the amount of light that a candle has. So there are several things that are very important in this technique. Because in this technique, we are going to create an impression in our retina of the candle. And we don't want to, hurt our retina. So we don't want to look to anything that is bright, because it could, it's like looking at the sun. It could hurt your eyes, So first, the amount of light in a candle is one candle. It's a physical quantity called one candle, una candela. So that amount of light is an amount of light that will never affect your retina, and subtle enough to produce a very subtle post-retinian image or after image. Mónica, tráeme el ordenador, que lo voy a poner lo de la vela. Now, so that you understand how we are going to work with this technique, I'm going to first do a little thing with you. El ordenador también.
El tuyo, ¿no?
Sí, el mío, sin más, sin enchufador ni nada, solo para ponerlo aquí. Now I'm going to show you this so that you have a good idea of how this works. I'm going to explain you the technique completely, and then we are going and do it. And tomorrow you are going to wake up and you are going to do the whole thing, the good morning day, and we will meet at 8:30, but to do Tratak, the meditation, and then we go for breakfast. And from the moment you wake to the moment you sit down to do the Tratak technique, you are on your good morning day kind of practice, right? And this that we are doing this weekend is what you want to apply, or the techniques that we are going to learn, but this will be the morning technique. You want to apply this for at least 8 weeks. Now, to support you during this time, I will connect you to an online platform where, you know, I will be giving you kind of guidance during the next 8 weeks. And the secret is doing it. It's not much, it's 2 months. But if you do these techniques that you are going to learn for 8 weeks, something will have happened, which is you have learned a discipline that you will never forget again. i.e., like riding a bicycle. You never forget again. You know, you you have. When was the last time you rode a bicycle?
About 10 years ago.
10 years ago, but you pick a bicycle today and you know how to ride. Well, the same thing with this, which means you might maybe stop meditating, but if things go wrong, you will remember how to do it, and you will remember from the experience of doing it 8 weeks that you are going to sort that was, you know, making you feel bad. So you will learn something that is very, very practical, and that once you learn this, it's really a gift of God. It's really something that's a gift of God. I mean, that it's now, for you to understand how the post-Retinian image works, I'm going to put this here.
HDMI.
Where is the... Where is my mouse? Cannot see it. Ah, here. Here. Okay. There. Okay. So now, what you're going to do is you are going to just look at these 3 dots. Okay? So you just keep your sight in those 3 dots as if those 3 dots were the only thing that you are interested in. You know, your mind might be thinking things, you might want to see around, but no, it's only those 3 dots that you are interested in. So you just keep your eyes and your sight fixated in those 3 dots. And don't allow your eyes to go any other place but those 3 dots. Simply keep looking at those 3 dots all the time.
The red one started moving.
Eh?
The red one started moving.
But you missed it.
No, I meant when I was looking at it.
You've seen what happened? No?
I didn't see the red moving.
Okay, now.
Do that again.
You don't need to speak with me. You don't need to worry about anything. You just need to look at these 3 dots, right? And don't move your sight from the screen. Even when I move or when I change anything, you just want to look at those 3 dots. And if I do something with the screen and I take those 3 dots away, you don't worry, you just keep looking at those 3 dots. Those 3 dots in a relaxed way, but those 3 dots are the only thing that you are interested in. You just want to see those 3 dots. Very relaxed. You just keep looking at those 3 dots, not worrying about anything else, just letting your thoughts go, looking at those 3 dots. And you keep looking at the screen and just tell me what you are seeing.
I see the figure of the woman.
You see the woman in color, right?
Well, kind of like in browns.
Well, you know, but it's nothing. It's a white screen. Have you seen the woman? Well, what you were seeing was the after image in your retina. And as you can see, it is a picture. You know, it's a photograph.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the mind is able to develop it, because I was showing you a negative and the mind brings it into positive. So the mind receives the information, processes it and keeps it in the mind, and it's there in the mind. When you were seeing the woman, you were not seeing the woman here. It was your retina that was bringing the woman and making it, you see it. There was nothing here. Here it's only these two screens, you know. So I just changed from the one to the other, from the woman. So that is the after image. So we are going to create an after image with a candle. Solo hay estas velas, ¿no? Tenemos que comprar velas buenas.
No signal. Please check the power of the device and cable connection status, or press the input on your remote to change to another input.
¿Eh?
Por Amazon, mejor será.
Ah, sí.
Sí, porque yo no he visto de las que son redondas, mejor cera.
Estas son malísimas.
So.
So,
No sé dónde está eso, no sé.
so this is
Pero
the way you do the technique. You've done the good morning day. You have done the good morning day. You sit down and you are going to start your Tratak technique. So you sit down, and the first thing you do is pranayamas. Pranayamas is breathing with a rhythm. Have you ever done pranayamas? Are you cold?
I'm freezing.
You are freezing.
Sit here because of the sunlight.
I don't know because I have the heating system to 85, but I don't know if something is not working or.
But you can sit here because the sun is hitting here.
No, I'm going to sit in front of the
Oh,
candle.
right, okay.
No, we are going to do the practice in another room,
Oh,
not
I
here.
see.
I'm going to explain it here, and then we are going to here. This.
Probably not.
Are you cold?
Yes,
It's
yes.
freezing.
Es la calefacción que nos cambia.
I don't know
No,
what.
no, I want to put it in front of me. No,
In front?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
I know where I'm cold.
Good, good,
It's
good.
my reality, not yours.
Yeah, okay, so.
Llámala, John.
Yeah, I don't know what happens with the heating.
Yeah, but I'm
It
feeling
is
the
not
warmth.
working well.
I'm already feeling the warmth.
Oh,
the sun
God.
coming out. Wherever the sun hits you, that's
I
when you
can't
can feel
remember
it.
feeling this.
You know, it is set to 80, and
Must
it is.
have a lot of air leakage going on.
Eh?
Have you walked around with a candle to see whether it flickers? There's probably a lot of air coming in through these windows. You want to walk around with a candle and see if it
It's
flickers.
pretty sealed.
I don't
No,
think
it's
so.
pretty. Yeah, it's pretty. No, I mean, in summer,
When you
the system was able to keep this very cold.
when you touch the window, not the window, but the wood, is it cold or warm?
No, it's warm.
It's warm?
Yeah, I mean the crystal is more cold, but this is warm. Yeah.
You know, Con Ed will come in for nothing and do a survey of where the energy is coming in and leaving. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. Yeah, I really is the first day with cold we have in this house. Well, these first days have been the first days with real cold, and we are unable to keep this heated, and I have everything to the
You're going to
maximum.
have to have someone come in and do a survey.
Yeah,
I think it's free. Call Con Ed, they'll do it.
Yeah, well, we have, in fact, I hired a service of maintenance for the heating and the.
Yeah, but if the air is leaking out, that's separate from the system. In other words, if Con Ed comes in, they'll survey the house and see where you're losing heat. When you have a lot of windows,
Right.
and that's notorious. You don't know how old these are, do you?
No,
No.
I have no idea.
Well,
But anyhow, yeah, it is something that I don't know how is it that it doesn't heat the place, because in summer it was able to cool it.
it's a different system.
So if the system was able to cool it,
It's a different system,
it should be able to heat it also.
not necessarily.
Not necessarily, yeah, exactly. The thing is that really is not cooling. I mean, for example, I've put this like since yesterday to be at, I put it to the maximum 80 centigrades, 80 Fahrenheit, and the temperature is 66, and it's set to 80. But the temperature inside is 66, so it is unable.
How many zones do you have for the heating?
3.
3.
And I have the 3, working. And there is only one zone that is warm, which is that zone, that corner. If you want, there are 2 rooms there. You can change your room
Oh, good.
tonight,
Oh, good.
because those 2 rooms, those 2 in that corner,
Only this one.
are the only 2 rooms. Our room is freezing cold, is the most cold.
And they're right next to that room? Where is your room?
No, my room is in the other
side.
corner.
Oh, the other side.
The other
I'm
side.
going to change rooms this afternoon. How about that?
Good, yeah, you can change, when before we do Tratak, you change, and you get your things there, and then we do the Tratak. And yes, it's, I don't know,
I
it's,
can feel cold air. Can you feel it? I can feel it. The air is cold.
I really don't know. I
The windows-
really don't
the
know,
windows are closed.
because
Right?
until these
windows,
last
no.
3
The
days
windows
that
are
we
closed.
have had more cold,
Is there-
we didn't have that problem. It is today that it is more cold that I'm realizing that the heating system either is not powerful enough, or
Or
we
it's
are
leaking
losing,
out, or a combination.
or a combination of the 2.
Yeah, so I think you need Monday, call somebody in, and we don't need to obsess about this anymore. Let's forget about it.
Yeah, no, well, I've been thinking about it, you know, all morning, because this morning when I woke up, it was freezing cold in the room, in my room. I said, it's impossible, because I did put it, you know, like yesterday night, you know, I made sure that I had all these zones heating.
Do you have exhaust fans in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in my bathroom I have a small heater because there is an exhaust fan that goes out through the attic, so there is air coming into the bathroom. So what I do in the cold weather is I have a small heater in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've been thinking. In fact, I've been looking in Amazon at heaters.
I wouldn't do that until Con Ed comes in and does a survey
And sees.
for it. Make sure that it doesn't cost. I think they do it for free.
So you just call them and say
Call
you...
Con Ed and say you would like to have someone come in to assess the insulation, not the insulation, but whatever they call it,
Right.
the airflow.
The
That you've
airflow.
been, cranking up the heat and it doesn't work. And apparently they're experts. I don't know. Do you have an electrician or?
No, we don't have an electrician. Like, I mean, if there was one that came to this house, I don't know it.
You know what, maybe talk to Merrill about this and see if he thinks it makes sense to call Con Ed to have a survey. I mean,
Yeah.
I would ask somebody else, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, I will find out. I mean, I have to find out.
Back when we bought our house, my husband did call Con Ed and they came and they did a survey and they told us like to insulate the attic and do some other stuff that made a big difference.
Yeah, I will do that. But really, I mean, it's something that I didn't, because
You didn't know.
I didn't expect that
Right.
we would have this problem, that
Yeah,
it's
and
very
having-
difficult to keep this.
Right, you have a big crowd coming, 10 people coming next week.
Yeah, well, when people always bring heat.
Yeah, but if they're in their individual rooms, that's gonna be.
Yeah, exactly, I need to have that sorted out.
Well.
Okay.
Yeah, because last night, the room, with all the blankets, I was actually sweating in the morning. But then when I came out from under the blankets, I realized how cold it was this morning. Those
Same.
blankets worked. I was
Same
sweating.
thing to me, same thing to me. It was very, very, very cold. And
I was
I
almost
said,
tempted to go home. But I said, no, you have to stay.
yeah, no, we will, I hope that I can get this, I don't know, I need to look at again,
Well, you
because...
can't do anything until Monday, so don't worry about it.
Well, the system, it's one of these automatic things, I don't know, maybe I don't have it well programmed, I don't know. But I'm going to look at it later. I'm going to get the manual and see if by
Maybe that's true, maybe you don't have
touching
it.
the system...
Maybe the time is wrong on it.
En streaming.
No.
¿Para qué decides? Es que se va a reparar. Eso te iba a decir.
Okay, come on, let's continue. Forget about the heating now. So, how do you do Tratak? First of all, we will do pranayamas, which is a breathing technique, which is you breathe in counting up to 4. You retain your breath counting up to 16, and you breathe out counting to 8, right? Have you ever done it before?
Do with Merrill.
Good, so
So
you've
it's
done
4, 8, 4,
16,
and 8.
8.
4, 16.
But you have never done Tratak with Mary?
I did it,
Okay, so you know the technique.
I did it once.
You did it once.
My
okay.
problem is the discipline, that's why I'm here.
You did it once.
Yeah, I'm here to get a kickstart on
Okay,
that.
so we review it and for you. So pranayamas, you've done pranayamas before, so 4, filling well your lungs, 16, retaining, 8, emptying well your lungs, so a complete breath without forcing your lungs beyond, like if it was a globe just about to explode, no, just filling them well, your abdomen and opening it opening a little bit your upper part, your chest, and you feel counting to 4, count to 16, retaining breath, count to 8 while you breathe out. And you do 6 breaths like that. 4, 16, 8. And then you open your eyes and you look at the flame of the candle. In the same way we were looking at the 3 points. We just look at that flame, or in the same way you would look at a chimney. In reality, it's a flame. And you know, you can appreciate all the different colors of the flame, the light or the aura that can create around you. Allow all the changes that appear on your visual field with the flame. The flame can kind of look like it gets near to you, or it kind of get out away, or the only thing you will not, or it can go out of focus and then it goes into focus again. So you allow all the changes except one. If you see 2 candles. If you see 2 candles, you refocus, you close and open your eyes or whatever, you go back to 1 candle. Because if you see 2 candles, both hemispheres of the brain are being disconnected, and one of the things that this technique works is in the coordination between right and left hemisphere. Also, it's a subtle message in this chakra, which is the Ajna chakra, which is, neurophysiologically where the hypophysis is, and the neurohypophysis, the adenohypophysis, which is all the connection, mind-body connection, basically. So, you look at the candle for 3-4 minutes, more or less. The candle, also it's a universal symbol of good things. Birthdays, you put candles. In Christmas, candles. In any temple of the world, there can be images or no images, or these symbols or those symbols, but candles in every temple. Romantic dinner, you put a candle. So candles are a universally accepted symbol, the flame of that inner beauty or that light within you, or so it's a universal symbol of that divinity. So you can also have that awareness that you are looking to that symbol which is universally accepted.
It's memory of the dead too. Memories of the dead.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a universally accepted symbol, so you just let your eyes look at the candle and just keep your attention in the candle without concentrating, but without taking your eyes out of the candle. You just keep looking at the candle and you just let your thoughts go, because you are only interested in the candle, so you keep letting your thoughts go while you look at the candle. And then after 3-4 minutes, you close your eyes, and what you will see when you close your eyes is like in the image, you will see the after image of the candle. The very minute you close your eyes, you will see the after image. In fact, when you close your eyes, you keep like when I changed the PowerPoint to the white one, you keep looking. When you close your eyes, what you do is you keep looking with your eyes closed, but you keep looking, doing the act of looking, but with the eyelids closed, but you do the act of looking, and if you keep doing the act of looking, you will see the after image of the candle. That could be as perfect as a picture of the candle, like a photograph, like what you have seen. But that will be a variety of a little point of light, of this color, of that color, and it will change over time. So it will be a light that you can see of some description that will keep changing over time. What you need to do is to keep that light in the center of your visual field, because that light will tend to move, like the woman moved when I took the woman, moved up and down, started to move. Well, the candle will start moving also. And what you have to do is keep it in the center. And you keep it in the center by keeping your look like if you were looking at the candle. If, for example, if when we did this exercise and you saw the woman, you kept looking to the 3 points, although they were not there, but you didn't move your eyes from where they were looking, the woman would not move. So what you do to keep the point in the center is you just keep looking to the center, like if you were looking at the candle, but with your eyelids closed. And you will keep that point in the center. And when the point moves, instead of following with your eyes, because when you follow it with your eyes, it goes, you just don't follow it with your eyes. You keep looking at the center, and the point by itself will resituate itself to the center until it disappears. When it disappears, you keep looking like if you were trying to look at the candle, but with your eyelids closed. And normally it will reappear. After a little while, it will reappear. It might reappear of a different size, of a different color, in a different way. When it reappears, you keep looking at it, and you keep keeping it in the center. And you keep it there until it disappears again. And when it disappears again, you continue looking to the front as if you were trying to look at the candle, but with your eyelids closed. And it might reappear again, or it might not. You only open your eyes again when after a minute or so, you've been kind of looking with your eyelids closed, but kind of looking in front of you, like if you were trying to look at the candle, and nothing has reappeared. So then you open your eyes and you look at the flame again for another 3-4 minutes. And you keep doing these cycles. Look at the candle, look at the after image, look at the candle, look at the after image, and you can do 2-3 cycles of candle after image, candle after image. Normally 3 cycles, 2-3 cycles is a 15 to 20 minutes meditation. 3-4 cycles could be a 20 to 30 minutes meditation. So you just do 2 cycles or 3 cycles, and when you have done the last cycle, so when the last time that you have your eyes closed looking at the after image and it has not reappeared, and is the last cycle that you are doing, say that you are doing 3 cycles, you just do again pranayamas, 4, 16, 8, you do 6 pranayamas again, the same thing you did at the beginning, you do at the end, 4, 16, 8, and then you open your eyes and you start your day. And you apply this discipline every morning. And if you apply this discipline every morning, and you will perceive it from the very first day, you will see that little by little your mind gets more and more one-pointed in the day it has to live, in the things it has in front of it, and you get little by little involved with your day, and it will come a day that for you living your day is more than enough. You really don't want anything more because it's good enough for you. And then you start flowing day by day. And life is much more enjoyable if you get to that point, and to get to that point is not difficult, and everybody can do it. It's just a matter of a little bit of discipline. You have to put that 10%, that little effort of applying the discipline. And then the discipline brings by itself the results. Okay?
What happens after 8 weeks?
Well, after 8 weeks means that normally you will want to continue meditating, because in 8 weeks you will have created the habit. the mind will feel satisfied, the mind has learned that it is much better and enjoys much more applying the discipline than not applying it, and normally you continue meditating. But the most important thing that will have happened is that you have learned the discipline and to apply it. And it's what I told before, like the bicycle. And once you know that and you have learned that, you will never forget. You will be able to get back to the discipline in any moment and help you out of any situation that you might face. So those are the two most important things. Normally, after 8 weeks, you have learned that that's a much better way of living your life, and you will simply continue meditating, but it will have become effortless. The first 8 weeks are the ones that you have to put an effort. After 8 weeks, it becomes effortless. So then meditation is very easy. The discipline doesn't have the burden of obliging yourself to do it. But at the beginning, you have to oblige yourself to do it in the same way you oblige yourself to be at 9 o'clock at work, or you oblige yourself to whatever your responsibilities are, to do them, to be at that time, at that place, because you have an appointment, no? Mm-hmm. So at the beginning, you have to oblige yourself, because the little I will put all sorts of excuses so that you don't meditate. Because the little I knows that when you start doing this, he's going to lose his power over you. Because one of the things that you are going to learn with all these practices is to discard all his opinions. And he doesn't want to be discarded.
Discard all what? I didn't get that word.
All the opinions of your little I, which is all those mechanisms. You are going to learn to discard that, to take all the importance away of that. And he thinks he is the most important thing that you have. So, you know, he doesn't want you to be free of him. He wants you to be the slave of him. You understand this?
Where does that power come from?
Where is what?
Where does that power come from? From the little I that doesn't want you to get...
Well, it's a metaphorical way of speaking. Mm-hmm. This mechanism will tell you all sorts of excuses so that you don't do the good morning day, or you don't do the tratak, because he will try to convince you that tomorrow, let's do it tomorrow, mañana. No, he will do anything so that you don't. It's easier to discipline yourself, to go to a gym every day for 1 hour, because you know the little I, you know, thinks that that's good, you know, I'm going to look good, than to discipline you to sit down to meditation, because when you sit down to meditation, basically you are letting go of all the stupidity of the little I. All those thoughts that you are letting go and that you are learning to let go, which are the thoughts that make you suffer also, which are the thoughts of the little I, or that identity, you know, you are going to, you know, discard him. And the mechanism, this mechanism, for you to understand, inherits the animal instincts. That's the human animal. People think that the human animal is the body. No. That's the human animal. It has the instinct of survival and the instinct of perpetuation. It's always wanting to survive and wants to perpetuate itself.
But what purpose does that serve?
What purpose?
Those worries and everything. In other words, you're saying there's part of the human being that doesn't want to give that up.
Yeah.
But why is that? Is that an evolutionary thing, or?
Well, yeah, it's, you know, it's the condition of the human being as a form of life in evolution. Those are the conditions.
To worry. Do you mean to worry about things?
No, it has to do, it is, you know, I could get hours explaining this, but it has to do with the analytical capabilities that human minds develop, which is the ability to evaluate the pros and cons of a situation with respect to your own survival. And this mechanism develops this egoism, if you want it, and this idea that this is your reality, and this mechanism inherits the animal instincts of survival and perpetuation. In other words, is the human animal. The human animal is the most beast of all animals. There is no animal that can behave more beastly than the humans. And you just need to look at history.
Well, that's true.
Or at the news today. So the human animal, that animal is a beast, is ready to do anything to survive, to do anything to perpetuate, and if it has power, because if you don't have a lot of power, you cannot make a lot of harm, but if you have a lot of power, that animal can make a lot of harm. But in any case, if you have not much power, you have the power to harm you, because you cannot harm someone else without harming yourself. It's impossible. Because this is only one thing. So anyhow, what I'm trying to tell you is that this mechanism is the human animal, is what makes you suffer, and what you are learning through meditation is, instead of being driven by this animal, you are going to learn to be driven by your heart, by you being here and now, by your feeling and your connectedness to the whole. You are learning to be a human God instead of a human animal, because human animals, are the worst of all animals. The ability that humans have is that they can also become human gods. So it's switching from there to there, and he doesn't want to die. He wants your attention all the time. He claims for your attention, right? Okay, so 15 minutes to relax a little bit the mind, and so it's 12 o'clock we will do the Tratak.
Okay, and we're going to do it there.
No, we are going to do it in the Tratak room.
Okay.
Which is, we can meet here at 12 and then we go to the place.
So I can change my room now.
Yeah, you can change your room now. I will show you what room.
Do you want this guy?
No, I'm good. Send you where it is.
Tampoco es que esté tan... Oye, voy a cortar.
No, es que hace frío. Y yo la verdad es que no entiendo cómo es posible.
Mónica. Chris?
My feet are cold.